Hey, I'm Carmichael. I'm trying to become an okay dungeon master so that way I have the confidence to start my own campaign on this channel. I have a really cool idea brewing in the back of my mind, but I want to figure out a lot of things that I struggle with as a beginner DM before I put together a show for you. Please consider subscribing, and that way we can grow this channel and grow this community to above and beyond. As a new dungeon master, the number one thing I struggle with is NPCs. How many do I need to make? Why this one over that one? Which one is perfect for that? Am I doing them right? Are they organized in my head? Probably not. For whatever reason, what's in the books isn't registering up here, and I just need an easy plug-and-play system that I can trust that produces the best NPCs for my players. I already have a video about outlining a town and creating NPCs based off important economic, military, or social implications in that town. I also already have a video about making combat NPC classes for humanoid NPCs specifically. That way I can take any humanoid NPC and just throw them in the battle and quickly know what to do with them narratively in that fight. Which then brings us to this point, bosses. This is going to be heavily inspired by Matt Colville's Bosses and Solo Monster video. Spoiler, it boils down to 4 major things to keep in mind when customizing your boss. Add more actions to the boss's action economy. Give them some themed special abilities. Try to show some narrative progression in their actions. And most importantly, keep it simple and easy to manage. That's what we need to do with bosses. So I want to take that lesson, or those 4 elements, and try to brew something that works with the NPC combat classes. Ideally, this means I can make a boss out of any NPC that the players come across and make it feel like a boss fight. Let's rewind a little bit and list off those NPC classes. We have Skirmisher, Tank, Archer, Caster. If you haven't seen the other video, basically one of those are the classes that my NPC would be. Doesn't make sense that there would be anything else. And I can just focus on what they can do in a combat and how they would go about it based off those classes. Just similar to a player, but scaled down for me to manage while managing everything else. They all have their go-to weapons assigned to them. For the casters, they all have limitations on how many spells they can use. So now we just have to buff them accordingly to feel like a boss while not leaving the realm of those classes. I say the simplest thing to boost up the action economy, a multi-attack. If players are level 1 through 5, you add 1 extra attack. 6 to 10, it's +2. Then, up to 15, it's +3, and up to 20, it's +4 per turn. For casters, spell slots that are available, normally a caster is 1+ PC level. I'll bump up the spell slots available for casters 2+ PC level. Whether those are level 2 or level 3 is determined already in the class. I already give my NPCs bonus actions. I don't think I need to adjust that. Minions, however, if you don't know what minions are, they came from 4th edition. They hug around a boss, they're easy to kill, but can do some damage. Enables the idea of feeling like a heroine, chopping through a bunch of bad guys at once, and it's super satisfying to have. It can feel overwhelming and scary when there's a lot of them, but they're not meant to TPK. Right away, I'm gonna give my boss some minions to hang out with them. I roll a 1d4. I can add and subtract as much as I want, but rolling a d4 can really help lay kind of a first draft of that boss super quick. Or if I need it in a pinch, rather than going, is this too many, leave it up to the dice. So since the minions are kind of like an attachment or an accessory to the boss, I just make all the minions on the battlefield go at the same time as the boss. In return, once the boss dies, any minions left on the field, they go running away to never be seen again until the next boss fight. Villain actions. You will hear this from Matt Colville, Dungeon Coach, and probably now more people. Villain actions are basically lesser legendary actions. And if you don't know, these kind of actions would go after someone else's turn. Also, they're supposed to be themed depending on, story, location, or the boss themselves. I think I'm gonna keep that in mind. Obviously, I can make it off the plot whenever I'm in the moment trying to think of what's the best way to tie it in. So I got a list right here. If my boss was like a thief, obviously they'd be a skirmisher. I would probably just give them more rogue abilities with advantage for villain actions. If they're a tank, I'll probably give them more fighter barbarian abilities. Double rage, so +4 attack and damage, but -4 on AC. Second wind, action surge. The archer, I could give sharpshooter, which means you ignore cover when you shoot, and I would do it with advantage. Hide in plain sight. Casters, since it's so vague, and if it's a boss, I'd probably want to specify what kind of caster they are. I'm just gonna pick a PC class and lean into it with the limitations of my NPC class. Have an extra specific spell that's for my villain actions, and that spell is always with advantage. Eldritch, Spellbook, Meta Magic, Wild Shape, Channel Divinity, and Bardic Inspiration. Reactions, they're awesome. I love the idea of giving bosses more reactions. It's a perfect way to control the experience of narrative. Specifically, what I want to do is give a boss a specific type of reaction before they get to half of their health, another reaction before they get to 10% of their health, and then that third reaction. The boss's health bar determines how the boss will react to the party killing him. When the boss gets down to 10% health, screw minions, screw calling for help. I like the idea of doing a last stand. What I got here, let's say skirmishers will escape. That's their reaction. If you hit them while they're under the 10% and you don't kill them, they're going to try to escape, disengage, or dash with advantage. Tanks keep swinging. As a reaction, when you hit them under 10% and they don't die, they would swing back. But rather than doing an attack roll, it's a DC saving throw for the PC. So it's like you hit, swing back. That's really what it is. A dex save, because it's just, you gotta dodge that hit. Archer, I kind of call it the last shot. They're like, I need to do one more great shot and then I'm out. Casters is a choice option. Depends on how you want to play your caster, aggressive or defensive. They either use magic to safely leave, or they will continue the fight and put all their energy into one last massive blow. They're basically going to give their next attack advantage and double the dice damage. Whether or not I want them to stay or go, I can either make the choice myself, or I can roll a d6, and 1 through 3 they stay, 4 through 6 they go. And this should be mentioned for my minions, slightly different than 4E or how Matt Colville lists them. Because I did try minions on that boss fight with the goblins and the orc in the cave, and it got a little out of hand because it was a little bit harder to hit them than expected for level 1s. I'm just gonna make their ACs for now on between 5 and 10, and I'll feel that out. But most of the time, minions' HP is just 1. If you hit them, they're gonna die. Again, they're just meant to be a horde of things to take out and wipe out on the battlefield. So yeah, I think there's a lot of liberties that what I just suggested can be changed in the moment depending on the narrative. But what I think this is good for is a note to self. So next time when I'm putting together a boss encounter, I can go look at it and go, okay, those are my classes. Yeah, this boss is going to be a tank, or this boss is going to be a skirmisher. How do I want to design this? Well, these were my parameters that I set for myself. The sky is infinite and your limitations are non-existent because it's all imaginary. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Next time I'm going to talk about session 3 of my home campaign and how I made one single mistake and it made the worst D&D game experience for everyone. All right, see you in the next video. Hey, thumbs up, like, subscribe. Thanks.